to see you in America than I.
No, it's public television. We can't do that. Why?
Inside joke, fuck. With you on your right is the producer of Doctor Who, Mr. John Nathan Turner. And we are here tonight to tell people why it is that Doctor Who is the great institution that it is, but most particularly on this special night, how it is that you came to be Doctor Number 7.
Yes.
How, in particular, did you come to be Doctor Number 7?
Oh, yes. Oh, sorry, I thought you were going to...
Thank you.
You were going to tell them. How did I become Doctor Number 7? Well, I heard on the news that Doctor Number 6 was leaving, and I asked my agent to get in touch with the BBC, and just in case the lady who interviewed me this afternoon from NBC was here, that means the British Broadcasting Corporation. There was a lady who interviewed me this afternoon from a television station here, and she never heard of the BBC. So I was floored. Anyway, I heard that they were looking for a new Doctor Who. My agent got in touch, and I then went to several interviews, and I did a screen test, and they still asked me to do it.
Now, John Nathan Turner, if we can swing over to you, what are you looking for as a producer in casting the next Doctor, and what was it about Sylvester's qualities as an actor that caused you to make that decision?
Well, I think all of the actors to date, including John, who's sitting on your left, I mean, each of them contributed a massive amount of their own personality to the part. I mean, we don't know an awful lot, really, about the central character of our show. And they have all fleshed out the role in their own inimitable way. So one's looking for a kind of personality figure combined with a superb actor, obviously. And I wanted to heighten the humor in the new season, so I was looking for a kind of zany eccentric, and I think I found him.
We were interested in particular in your, as a fan, interest in Doctor Who and your eagerness to play the part. You mentioned that you put your agent onto the case when you found out that the role was open. Yes, Sylvester.
Sorry, I didn't realize you were talking to me. I thought you were still talking to...
No.
Yes.
No.
Could you ask me that again, then?
Sure, we can edit this later.
Yes. It's live.
Live television, right,
yes.
Thanks. What was it about the role of Doctor Who that caused you to tell your agent, this is a part I want to play?
Well, I've been a great fan of Doctor Who for years, and like any great fan, I'd really like, I'm sure they'd like to play the part, and I wanted to. And also, when I became an actor, lots of times people would say to me, you'd make a really good Doctor Who. So adding all that up, I decided that's why I'd like to be a Doctor Who.
Now, you bring very particular stage experience and television experience to the part. Can you tell people what it was that you've been doing in the past that you've enjoyed doing so much and you hopefully will continue in your role as the Doctor?
Well, yes, I mean, I've done all sorts. But like most British actors, I know in America the actors sometimes tend to specialize in various, medias. But in Britain, we tend to work a lot in the theatre and on television and in films. I've done quite a lot of Shakespeare, especially the clown roles in the Shakespeare, like Tranio and Puck and Feste from Twelfth Night, and various others like that. And I've done musicals, and I've been in an opera. I've done quite a lot of television as well, and a few films, and I think that's quite a good experience, as well as working in a box office of theatre. That's a really good experience for being an actor.
Now, there's a real cute story about how you were discovered when you were working in the box office in the theatre. Can you relate that?
Yes, I was working in the Roundhouse Theatre in London and collecting tickets, and there was an actor called Brian Murphy, who was in George and Mildred, Man About the House. I don't know if you get that here. He was going through a sticky period in his career, and he was collecting the tickets I was selling, and one day, a director came in who was starting up a fringe group, and he said he wanted a real, this mad fringe group we're going to start up, and he wanted someone really mad. And Brian said, well, that's the guy in the box office. He's completely out of his head. So he came out and asked me, he said, do you want to join the show? And I said, yes, but I'm not an actor. He said, well, do you want to become an actor? And I said, oh, well, all right, yeah, okay. And so I would often join it. It was quite an illustrious cast, because the founder member, one of the other founder members, was Bob Hoskins, who's now up for an Oscar. And we worked together, on that for about a year before he went off to do greater things. So now I'm off here doing great things.
Great things indeed. The new Doctor, Doctor Number 7, Sylvester McCoy. Let's have a hand for him, indeed. To my left is a very well-known figure in the world of Doctor Who and an institution, my good buddy. Doctors on either side. I think I'm terribly ill. Mr. Jon Pertwee. John, wait a minute, I have to adjust this thing in my ear as I swing around. Welcome. What do you make
What
of
do you
all
mean
this?
welcome? I've been talking to you all night. What are you talking about?
Well, there's another post-production edit right there.
No, let's leave it in. You
Okay,
know, yeah,
all right,
let's
we'll
have
leave
a
it
few
in.
laughs, yeah.
To fans of Doctor Who have not had the opportunity to hear from you in person, can you go back in time and relate how it was that you took on the role of Doctor way back those few years ago?
Keep going, you're doing splendidly. What would you like me to do? To tell you how I started?
Well, not me, them, I know.
Them? Oh, they all know that. How, you mean when I started?
When you started and how you got the role of Doctor.
I got the role because Sean Sutton, who was the head of programs, had me on his shortlist. I was number 2 on his shortlist and had been for 18 months, I gather. This is true, because John Nathan Turner was then working making the tea.
Quite right.
Ask him, is that not true?
Quite
Get the camera on John Nathan Turner. He was making the tea. He was a young lad, enthusiastic lad, and he was starting at the bottom, and he eventually became the producer of Doctor Who. And when I was doing Doctor Who, he was on the floor as a junior floor boy, manager, sir.
No,
Sorry.
make the coffee.
Yes, that's how it happened.
Now, thinking back to your role as the Doctor, your 5-year reign as the Doctor, what was your greatest joy in playing that particular part?
Oh, all the fun on location. In every capacity. I mean, take that smile off your face. the motorbikes and the stunts and the fun and the boats, and we had tremendous fun on location. Great. Very adventurous it was in those days.
Have you, what would your advice be for Sylvester, if it is proper for you to offer advice?
It isn't proper at all. I'm going to ask him for advice. I don't offer advice anything. He's got the job. Good luck to him. It's a marvelous job, and I know you'll have a great time playing it.
Great. Let's swing back over to Jon Nathan Turner for a moment before we come back to Sylvester. John, how do you envision, as the producer of the show and the producer's vision, the newer episodes of Doctor Who progressing in the great tradition of Doctor Who?
New ones from Sylvester onwards, you mean?
Absolutely, yes.
Well, as I mentioned, a more heightened strength of comedy. We're entering a new era, and to back that up, we're having a new logo, we're having new music, we're having, well, a new arrangement of the old music. So the whole thing will have a kind of fresh look. And I'm delighted that in the first story that we're doing, we've managed to secure the services of Kate O'Mara, who's been over here in Dynasty, playing Caress, Joan Collins' sister. And she's coming to play a villain that she's played before called the Rani, and that's in the very first story, which, along with Sylvester and Bonnie Langford, who's the marvellous new companion, I think we're in for a terrific new season.
Great. Now, as you approach the role of Sylvester, and you begin your shooting for your first season, what goes through your mind? You're picking up... Yeah, panic I can relate to, yes. You're picking up quite a distinguished mantle in taking on the role of the Doctor. What do you hope to be able to accomplish with it over the period of time that you'll be playing the role?
Well, I hope to have fun, keep it as wonderful as it was when the other 6 Doctors were doing it, and enjoy it, really. If I enjoy it, then I know that the audience will enjoy it, I'm sure.
I'm sure they will. Down at the very far end of this grand assemblage is a gentleman in a suit. I can assure you...
Well, somebody from the BBC has to wear a suit.
This is a gentleman by the name of Brian Sloman, who is the tour organizer of the BBC Doctor Who traveling exhibit, which is going around the country. Brian, your love of Doctor Who goes back very many years, and you organized this tour as a way to help the PBS stations across the country in their membership drives, et cetera, et cetera. Can you tell us what was the genesis of this and how you hope that will elicit membership response around the country?
Well, we see this as the perfect marriage, the happy marriage between the BBC in America, that's Lionheart Television, and the PBS stations through their fans. And by taking this tour to 77 cities around the United States, we feel we can pay back just a little bit of what we feel we owe the fans for their loyalty over the years. Because, of course, they realize that the only way that Doctor Who can stay on the airways here is by their continuing to put their hands deep into their pocketbook year in, year out. And we're very, very sensitive to that as the BBC, as the people making the program, and as Lionheart Television responsible for selling it. So for us, it's payback time.
Great.